Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming my humongous end of the year eyeshadow palette declutter. Haven't done one of these in a minute. I think it's actually been like over a year. So I wanted to go through my collection and kind of just get some things out that I haven't really been using or loving, some older stuff out. I wanted to let you guys know that none of this stuff is going to waste. I always give some of my palettes to my friends and family. I do sell a few things on my Poshmark page just to make some money back, and anything that's new and unused I do try to donate, so don't worry, everything has a place. If you guys missed it, I did a huge makeup declutter going through this whole toolbox full, but I haven't done my eyeshadow palettes yet, so that's what we are doing today. It's gonna be a long one because I have tons of palettes. I think I have over 100, and we're gonna try and see if we can cut it in half. We'll see how we do at the end, but just keep in mind, this is my job. You do not need to have as many eyeshadow palettes as I do. I get a ton sent in PR. I buy to review. I like to keep some on hand for comparisons and stuff like that, so I definitely have more than the average, but I love to kind of go through every now and then and just kind of clear some stuff out that I'm not really using, because I will obviously have some new stuff to review in the new year, but it just makes it easier to look at my drawer when there's not hundreds of palettes in there, so I can pick out stuff I actually love and want to use every day. So I'm not saying that you need to declutter your collection. If you want to declutter, please do be my guest. It is nice, therapeutic to kind of declutter your life a little bit, but in no way am I saying that you also need to declutter your collection. You bought it, use your stuff how you please. But I think that's enough with this intro. I always have to make a little disclaimer here, but let's get started with the declutter. Okay guys, so let's start off the video. We're gonna go over my Odin's Eye collection here. I really enjoy keeping some of their palettes on hand, but a couple of their palettes have been discontinued and you can't get them anymore, so I think I can declutter maybe one or two. I do have the Christmas palettes, and I may have to end up decluttering them just because they already got discontinued within a month and I haven't even had a chance to use them yet, so I may end up donating those. Anyways, let's start with the Soul Mane 2 palette. This is a gorgeous palette. I know this sold out a couple of times, and I think it's such a fun one for spring and summer. They still sell this. It's one of their best ever. I'm definitely keeping. Next, we have the Heal palette with Angelica Nyqvist. Honestly, I did use this, and it's a great palette. But again, this is one that got discontinued so fast, so I don't really like to necessarily recommend products you can't really get your hands on it anymore. So I think I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. Then we have the Norns palette. This is one of my first palettes I ever received from them, and it's one of my favorites. It's a gorgeous smoky toned palette. This reminds me of winter, so I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of this one this Christmas season and into January and February, so for sure keeping. And then I also have the Alva eyeshadow palette, which I haven't got a ton of use out of, but I do think these are beautiful rosy toned shades. It does run a little bit on the lighter side though. I might want to try this one out a bit more, so we'll keep it. Next we have my Sigma palettes. I have gotten quite a few more in the past year, so I don't know if I will declutter any of these. Let's see. The Enchanted I recently just got in the full size. A lot of these you can still get, so I do like to keep them on hand for comparisons, and I do enjoy reviewing their palettes, so this one's really pretty. I'll keep it. I know I had the Mini Enchanted, and I did end up decluttering the Mini. The new mod, this is one of my favorites from them this year. I think it's absolutely stunning. I love this vintage shade right here. I wear it so much. Stunning palette. I want to keep it. Also the Alice in Wonderland palette. Really enjoyed this one this year. You guys know I'm a sucker for Disney. It is a bit similar though to the Cinderella, which looks like this. So I don't know if I necessarily need both of these. I may end up decluttering the Cinderella palette and keeping the Alice in Wonderland one. And then I just got these 3 minis. I kind of want to try out the warm neutrals. I don't know how similar that might be to New Mod though. Let's see. I don't know, you guys. It's nice to have a smaller version. I might hold on to it, try it out. Cor de Rosa. This one's really pretty as well. Maybe that one's even more similar to the New Mod. And then the Ambiance palette, I do want to hold on to these, so I guess we're only going to be decluttering one Sigma palette so far, but a lot of these are super new in my collection this year. Alright, here is my Anastasia palettes here. I tend to collect a lot of their palettes. I've tried every single one that they've launched, and I've kind of realized something over the years that I don't really care for their older palettes anymore. They're just not really my makeup style. But let's get into what I have. Of course, this is their newest one, the Rose Metals. I have been enjoying this one a lot. It's like a fun, glammy, grungy palette, and it has some rosy tones and some gorgeous metallics. I will hold on to it. Now, Modern Renaissance. I actually ended up buying another one of these on major clearance because I wanted to feel the nostalgia, because this palette used to be everything back in the day, but I started using it again and I just kind of realized that the shimmers in this palette are not what I like anymore. They're so subtle, and I feel like maybe at the time those were good, but these days I just don't think the shimmers in here are great. I feel like the mattes are fine, but I just don't love this one anymore. Makeup preferences have changed. Eyeshadows have gotten a lot better since Modern Renaissance, so it's a declutter. I also have the Norvina palette from them. I bought another one of these because actually I lost my original. I don't know what happened to it. I never decluttered it. Somehow it just disappeared out of my collection, so I ended up buying one on sale. Haven't really touched it though, and I'm kind of thinking if I really needed this in my life. I think I'm just kind of trying to get rid of these older palettes. I feel like a lot of websites don't even sell this palette anymore, so I'm going to declutter. Next we have the Nouveau palette. Again, this is a nice one. This is one of their newer ones this year. I already smashed the shade, which I'm really upset about. For some reason, my cream colors, they always break. But I am going to be keeping this one. I think it's gorgeous. I am really liking these new Anastasia palettes. Just kind of out with the old and with the new here. And then this one is fairly recent as well, and this is their Primrose palette. This one's also pretty recent, within the last couple of years. It's actually very beautiful. Great quality palette. I'm going to keep. And then I do have this huge Norvina palette, which is actually really nice. The Norvina Volume 4. This has gorgeous purples in it. The pigment is insane. It's so bulky, and I tend not to use these huge palettes like this, but it is stunning. I'm telling myself I should probably declutter it, but I don't know. It's just so beautiful. I think I do want to keep it in my collection for a bit longer, and I do like this one better than the other Norvina palette. I just wish it was more of a condensed version, but I think I'm gonna have to keep it. Okay, next we have these two Catrice palettes I got this year. They are really gorgeous shimmers in here, but the mattes in here are not the greatest. They don't have hardly any depth to them, especially in this Sandy Days palette. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter this one. I know I can mix other mattes with it, but I'm kind of a one palette girl. I don't like to reach into more than one palette when I'm doing my shadow. I like one palette to kind of do the job for me. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. And then the Rainforest Haze, I think I honestly haven't used this at all. I'm going to go ahead and donate this one since it's unused. I just don't think I love these as much as I would like. Okay, I just started getting into Kaleidos this year. They sent me a few things, and I've been really liking their products so far, especially this line. This is, I think, called Cold Brew. Does it have the names? I think the names came off of these, which is kind of annoying. Anyways, this is a gorgeous smoky neutral quad. Love this one as well. This is gorgeous, and it's like the easiest eyeshadow palette to do a smoky eye with. Seriously, amazing shadows. I haven't really gotten into this new collection yet. The packaging is super fun though, but this design, not really feeling that, because I think everyone says it looks like a uterus, which it does. But there's some gorgeous purple palettes in this collection as well. I think I'm feeling this one a bit more, just more wearable for me than this one is. I may go ahead and declutter this purple palette. This is called Glowing Iris. Okay, next we have my Nomad collection. I also got really into their shadows this year. So we have the Whistler Snow Lodge. I really love this color story. Oh my gosh, such a gorgeous winter palette. Keeping. I also really like this one. This is the Feats de Provence. I love this color story with these purples, yellows, reds. It's so beautiful. Kind of a vineyard wine theme. Also, I really do like the Hudson Valley. I think this is beautiful, but sometimes I kind of feel like these shimmers are too bright for this color scheme. So that kind of has me in between on this one, because if these were just maybe a little deeper, more muted, I think it would go a bit more, but they're like so bright. Like I would like an olive green shimmer, not like a lime. This is too bright, this is too bright, so it throws me off a bit. So I'm like, should I keep it? Like I love the mattes in here, but I don't know, it's just missing the overall uniformity that I'm looking for. I don't know, let me decide in a little bit. We have the Nomad Tokyo. I have not used this one, but they sent it over, and I think this is going to be a really fun spring pastel palette. I still want to try this one out because I think it is stunning. Look at these pastels, that is just so cute. So I think I want to hold on to it for now. And then this is here's the name of it. I'm just going to call it the Rainforest palette. This is super tropical. I think it's very pretty as well. You can do some really fun bright looks with it. So I do like this one, and I like the shimmers that they included. So I think I want to keep it, even though it's a little more out of my comfort zone, but I think it's going to be a fun one to play with. So back to this one. I don't know, you guys, I can't seem to get rid of it right now. So I know I'm keeping all of these. I did declutter one already this year, which was like their Tropical Sea palette. I can't remember it. It was like an island palette, and that one was just a bit too bright for me, but I'm not ready to let go of these, so I'm gonna keep it. Okay, I do have a few Ofra palettes here, and these are all collaborations with some of my friends, so I really don't want to get rid of any of these. Ofra, I'll be honest, doesn't make my favorite eyeshadow formula, but I don't know, I just can't seem to get rid of these. I always get so happy for some of my friends to have a collaboration, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and hold on to these for now, because I can't get rid of them, so we'll keep. Okay, next we have Juvia's Place, and I think I'm going to go ahead and declutter both of these. I really try to get into their shadows, but I just do not like their formula. I don't know, it just seems very stiff and hard to work with, so I just prefer, I guess, for a more affordable option like ColourPop. It's just not my favorite affordable option. So I'm going to declutter this Nubian Earth and this Garden of Juvia's, even though it is beautiful, but I don't love the formula so much, so these can both go. I'm also letting go of both of these BH Cosmetics palettes. BH is like all changed now. They're owned by, I guess, Makeup Revolution kind of took them over. And these you can't really get anymore, so I don't really reach for them. I know it's some of their best that they've had, the Blueberry Muffin and the Avocado Toast, but I don't feel like I need these in my collection anymore, so I'm gonna declutter. All right, next we have Natasha. We have the big ones and the minis. I really need to narrow this down a bit, so let's see what we can do. Let's start with the minis here. I'm actually kind of surprised with myself, but I'm gonna declutter this. I took it with me on a trip, and you know, I didn't love the looks that I got with this, and I used to really enjoy this, but it just doesn't do it for me anymore, surprisingly. This is their Mini Glam. I'm gonna declutter that. I do like this Mini Metropolis though, so I think I wanna hold on to that one. Mini Biba, this is a very peachy tone, but it actually looks really good on my eyes, I feel like, so I think I'll hold on to it. The Mini Love, this one's pretty cute as well. I think I'll keep. She always does a Valentine's Day collection, so I'm curious to see what she's gonna come up with this year. Ooh, we have my Mini Retro as well, which is a really cute palette as well. I don't know how similar it would be to Biba. This one's a little lighter toned though. I don't know, you guys. I think I have to keep that one. Mini Xenon as well. This is a fun smoky palette. And then we have Mini Bronze, which I feel like this one is so similar to the original Bronze. So I feel like I don't know if I need to keep this in my life. Let me just think about that one. Let's compare it to the Bronze when I get to that, but let's move over to the big palettes. Okay, so Dream palette. Really love this one. I am for sure keeping it. Definitely very wearable for me. The Love palette. I think I'm gonna let this go. It's not a color scheme I really go for. I don't wear a lot of reds. I know there's some beautiful purples in here, but I just never reach for this, so I think it's time to let it go. For a while, I was just keeping all of the Natasha palettes to have for like collector's purposes, but I'm not really into collecting. I want to keep, like, you know, the updated formulas, the updated popular trending shadow palettes, and the ones that I truly love, and this is not one, so we can let it go. the Retro Glam. You guys know I was a little disappointed by this one, but I don't think it's a bad palette at all, and I will still use this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. It is more pastel, but I can create some really pretty green looks with it. Retro, this is my love. I'm for sure keeping Retro. It's so beautiful. Use it so much. This is also my love of many years, the gold palette. I know I don't reach for it as much as I used to, but she just doesn't have anything like this in her other palettes. With these gorgeous gold tones, I have to keep it. I just have to. And Biba, another beautiful one. Very neutral and just a stunner, so I have to keep. The Glam Face, since I have so many of her palettes, maybe I can go ahead and declutter this one just because I feel like I can get these tones in Biba already. I know it has like the face stuff, like the blush and highlight. I don't think this is bad by any means, but I'm just trying to be realistic about what I really need in my collection, so we can let this go. Okay, I will never declutter this bad boy. This is Glam. We love it. She's stunning. Pastel palette. Okay, so this one, I was kind of expecting more from it too. I just don't feel like there's enough mattes to go with the shimmers in this one, so for me, it's not a super uniform palette in my opinion. So I think I'm gonna surprise some people, but I am gonna declutter the pastel palette. And then we have bronze. So here's my issue with bronze. It's super repetitive. And I'm thinking like maybe if I just kept the mini, like I could just get the same looks about because everything's so similar, but I don't know. This does have a few more warm tones, which is nice, and it goes a bit deeper than the mini, but it's such a repetitive palette. Like really, there's a few looks that you can do with this one. I don't know, you guys. Maybe I should just go ahead and keep the big one and declare the small one because it's so similar. I don't need both. So I think that's what I'm going to do. We'll keep bronze. Okay, here's my little Glam Light collection. I've been getting more into their palettes lately. They came out with these fun Hershey Kisses palettes, and I actually do like these. I think they're really cute. This is the milk chocolate, which I do use quite a bit. This one is the milk chocolate with almonds. I think I might declare this one. I definitely don't use it nearly as much, and I have a lot of color schemes like this, so maybe I'll go ahead and declutter. And then I really like this Scooby-Doo palette. It's actually really good quality, and the shimmers in here are just so stunning. And this totally, like the color scheme is very Scooby-Doo to me, so I love that. I'm gonna keep it. Dirty Martini. I don't really use this one as much as I should. Is it similar to Scooby-Doo a little bit? I don't know. I love the color so much in Dirty Martini. I just have to keep it, and I need to tell myself I need to use this more because it is a stunner. And then I bought this Michaela palette at TJ Maxx, and I literally do not use this. Like, I bought it because everyone, I feel like, hyped it up. There's just too much in here going on for me, too many colors. I just don't reach for it, so I can declutter this Michaela palette. Alright, now we have my Lunar Beauty palettes. I definitely want to keep Nude Prism. This has been a favorite of mine. It's gorgeous neutrals. Lunar Beauty has one of my favorite formulas. Eternal Eclipse is gorgeous smoky neutrals. And then I may declare this Moon Spell. I kind of just kept it because it was a little bit more hard to get, but I think it's mostly retired and he doesn't really bring it out very much. It's very cool though with the color scheme. It is very witchy vibes, and it does have names of different witches on it, which I think is so cool. But I think I'm going to go ahead and let this go just because it is, you know, it's really hard to find. And to be honest, I'm not really going in for this unless it's like Halloween time. I kind of forget about it. So I think we'll keep these two and declutter this one. We have my Pat McGrath collection, which is very large here. So we'll see if I can get rid of any of these. I tend to get a lot of her stuff on major clearance, so I feel like I have a bunch of her palettes that I barely use. Let's start with Moonlit Seduction. This is the newest mothership, and she's a stunner. It's my favorite one out of all the motherships. I know not everyone loves this one because she doesn't have a lot of the Blitz glitters, but I don't like the glitters, so this is perfect for me. I can get so many great looks out of this one, so keep for sure. I think this is the original Divine Rose, and I don't know, I really liked how like neutral this one was. It's a little bit more cool leaning, which she does a lot of these rosy tone shades. It is pretty basic, pretty neutral, but I just feel like I kind of want to hold on to it because it is very wearable. Now this one we can kind of tell I haven't used much. I think this is the first Mothership. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I feel like this color story is very unique. So I got this really cheap and I think I'm going to keep it. This one is the Utopian Dreams. I remember this was such a big deal when it launched, but it is a bit repetitive for me. I do really like the glitters in this one though. They make the eye look just shift and it looks so stunning. So I have a hard time, decluttering it because it is really beautiful. So I don't know, you guys, I might hold on to it. I know I'm doing really terrible. Okay, and then we have the Bronze Seduction. I think I'm gonna keep it too. I know, I'm being really bad right now. Okay, maybe let's get rid of this one. Okay, so this is last year's holiday palette and I loved it and I think it's great. But again, it's limited. It's not really something I can use much on my channel anymore. And I feel like I just only reached for it when it was out in like the holiday season last year. So I think I'm gonna declutter this one. I know I have these shades in my other palette, even though I do think it is nice. But yeah, it does take up a really big chunk in my collection. I never really get to talk about it anymore, so we'll declutter. Okay, this one I also bought and I never use it. This was in that same holiday collection. I think this is the Luxe Quad. It's a gorgeous color scheme, but yeah, I've had this in my collection. I don't reach for it. It's like all shimmers. I kind of bought it just for this blue. So I think I'm gonna declutter this one. I'm not really a quad girl. And then I have my Bridgerton palettes. I think these are going to be discontinued soon because we have been seeing them at TJ Maxx. Here's the Diamond of the First Water. And I also have the Belle of the Ball. Now I love the Bridgerton show, so I have a hard time decluttering these. But I really love the looks that I get from this one. So I think I might hold on to this one. And maybe I'll declutter this one. So yeah, I didn't do too great, but I just feel like her Mothership palettes, they're so collectible and you can get them on a really good discount. So keeping quite a bit of this. Okay, for my Melt palettes, I don't think I'm going to get rid of any of these. I actually really like them and I've been getting a lot more into Melt this year. So I have their Mary Jane, which is like their fun smoky palette. A lot of people don't like this one because the shimmers are a little bit loose, like glittery. But I think it's stunning and I wear it quite a bit. It's so grungy. And then I also picked up these two this year, even though they didn't launch this year. But I just really wanted to get into these because everyone's been hyping them up. So I have the Rust palette, which is gorgeous. Gorgeous warm neutrals. And I love this Gemini one. It's such a gorgeous fall palette. They relaunched this one this year and it's beautiful to have like your somewhat warm tones and then these fun greens over here. Such a stunning palette. So I'm going to keep those. Okay, Revolution. As much as I love the Grinch like whole collection, I thought it was so cute. I feel like I'm going to declutter these because they're just so, like, all their collections are so limited. They're there for a week and then they're gone. But I think they did a decent job on these. I just don't really love this color story with the purples added in. It just throws me off a bit. I kind of wish that those were like neutral browns they put in with the greens. And then the big palette, this is actually pretty decent quality. But yeah, I just don't see myself reaching in for this one unless it's Christmas time. And I'm like, let's go for a fun Grinch theme. But I mean, the quality was decent, but it's just not a super love for me. But I do think they're improving, but I just wish that their stuff would stick around instead of just promoting something new all the time. Kind of similar to ColourPop, but at least ColourPop, their stuff at least sticks around for a little bit longer. Next we have Urban Decay. My Urban Decay collection has dwindled down so much over the years. I used to like live and breathe for their palettes, but they've been just disappointing me lately. I will say, I do like this little Naked palette, the Naked Foxy. I didn't expect to love it, but it's actually so good. I did, again, break the cream shade, but this is just a really easy reach for palette for a simple everyday look that runs a little bit more green, but green and neutral, so I'm gonna keep it. Now, I do like this Wild Greens, and I actually thought it was pretty good for Urban Decay. The only thing is it's missing some of the depth I would like it really needs a dark brown to complete the look, but I did not think this was a bad palette at all. You can find it super cheap at TJ Maxx. I might go ahead and just hold on to it for now because I do think this color scheme is really pretty and honestly reminds me of Natasha Retro a bit. And then this is my love, Urban Decay Naked Honey. It's like the only Naked palette I still have in my collection. It's gorgeous golds, which I just can't get enough of. I never reach into it though, but I just can't seem to declutter it. Now this one for sure I'm getting rid of, the She-Hulk. Oh my gosh, this was a monstrosity how awful this palette was. I did not enjoy it in the slightest. This is the for sure declutter. I think I'm going to hold on to my Sydney Grace palettes, the Enduring Love and the Tiny Marvels. I do love these two palettes a lot. Tiny Marvels is such an original, fun palette. It's so beautiful, and it kind of just keeps Mel's memory alive having that palette in my collection. She was a beauty YouTuber that passed away, but she had collabed with Sydney Grace and made this gorgeous palette. But yeah, these are my two favorite Sydney Grace. I love their formula. I will definitely be keeping both of my Patrick Ta palettes, the Major Dimension. Again, this cream shade is broken. So annoying. I actually wear that one a lot too. But I love this palette. I get so much use out of it, and I always travel with it. It has gorgeous glittery tones and these soft mattes. And then I love the new one as well. This is volume 2. Which is a little bit more rosy, so I'm going to keep those. I'm also going to keep these two Adept palettes. I've really been loving their formula this year. They have some of the most gorgeous shadows. Like, look at these glitters, and their duochromes are just out of this world. I hope they do start adding more mattes in, because I do like having a full palette to use. So I'm going to keep Minka, and I'm going to keep Heather Austin's palette as well. So stunning. Next is Glaminatrix. I just got these like a month or so ago, and I've been slowly testing out the Nearly Natural, I think it's called. Gorgeous palette. Oh my gosh, these shades are stunning. I love their quality. The pigment is insane, and the metallics are stunning, so I'm going to keep. And then they did send over this Glamorous palette. I just don't know if this is something I'm really going to reach for, so I think I might go ahead and declutter this one. Next, we have my Too Faced collection. This collection used to be so huge. I used to have all their palettes, but in the past couple of years, I've just been really let down by them, and they just do not compare to some of the other high-end palettes in my collection. So honestly, they just need to lower their prices. I feel like it's just way too expensive, or they need to change their eyeshadow formula because it's just not working for them. I recently got some of their holiday collections, and I've been testing them out. I know I didn't do a video, but honestly, it's the same old, same old. I'm not impressed, especially with this Bake Shop collection. This was one of the worst palettes I've ever tried. The pastels, they just can't do pastels right in my opinion, so I am decluttering these. I just did not like the quality whatsoever. Now this one was definitely better. This is the You Drive Me Glazy. Definitely better than the Bake Shop, but it's just, they always do the same color scheme, I feel like, for literally everything. And this one was okay, but I did get some like powder fallout and all that. But it's definitely the better ones of the holiday collections, but not something I feel like I need to keep. Okay, so here's some of my tried and true ones that I've kept for a while, and a couple newer ones. So I think I'm ready to let go of some of these. I've just held on for nostalgia. Shake Your Pom Poms. I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this one. It's just getting old. This I bought the You're So Hot, and it's actually a decent quality one, but I expected it to be a little bit more cool toned. Do I really need to keep this though? I just don't feel like I do. I might declutter. The Gingerbread Extra Spicy I've held on to. I do like this one. It is getting older though, but I don't know. I might just keep it for now in my collection. Born This Way Sunset Stripped. This is one of their newer palettes from this year. The smell on this is really strong. I did not think this was a bad palette at all. It actually had these really pretty melty shimmers, so it's actually like decent quality. I might hold on to it. This is my favorite though, the Natural Nudes. If you want a good quality Too Faced palette, you can't go wrong with Natural Nudes. Super gorgeous color scheme. I like these neutrals. I've been debating this one, you guys, because I have such strong memories with this collection. I always say this, but it was one of my first PR collections that I've ever received, and it was during the time that this was so hard to get, and I couldn't believe they sent it to me, being a really small YouTuber. But I reached into it maybe a month or so ago, and really there's only a couple shades I love in here. I like Luscious a lot. Bellini's pretty, but it's just not as good anymore as what we have these days for eyeshadow. So it was great at the time, but things have improved so much more. That's why I would love them, and I know not everyone's gonna like this idea, but I really want them to do another version of Sweet Peach, but make it better, you know, just like a 2.0 version. I think that's what they should do, because I love this color story, but I think it's finally time. I'm going to declutter this palette. Okay, Pumpkin Spice. I also really like this one, so I'm going to hold on to it. I always like to keep these two for comparisons with the other like holiday palettes they come out with, or their fall palette, because they're also similar. But that one was actually decent. And then Better Than Chocolate is their newest one this year. A lot of people dogged on this one, but honestly, I didn't think the quality was that bad. It seemed very typical for Too Faced, but I mean, I have the other ones. The Born This Way is still gonna trump this, so I may just go ahead and declutter it, but I don't think it was like the worst palette of the year. Even though everyone's putting it in their worst videos, I don't think it was that bad. Okay, next up we have Huda Beauty, which I also have a very large collection from her because I love her palettes. So I ended up getting a new nude palette from her. I got it on a major clearance deal, but now I'm just like, did I really need this? I mean, I like it, but I feel like I have similar palettes already. I just kind of got it for nostalgia, honestly, but I mean, this really is the palette that made me fall in love with her brand, and has this gorgeous like speckled shadows. Let me just keep it out here just to kind of compare. So Rose Quartz, I love this one. This is really pretty, kind of more lavendery, a little more purple rosy tones. So I do love this one a lot, so keep. Mercury Retrograde, I feel like they've been trying to get rid of this for a while because, I mean, it's beautiful. I feel like it's so stunning, very unique, but it's just not everyone's cup of tea. Let's compare it to Rose Quartz. I feel like I like Rose Quartz better, even though this one has more blues, but I feel like maybe I'm just gonna keep Rose Quartz, and maybe I can just finally declutter Mercury Retrograde because I just don't use it as much. Okay, Naughty is my favorite from her, so this is a keep. Mine is so messy, but I wear this so much, and that's why I originally decluttered the new nudes, is because these are so similar. I just didn't know if I really needed both of them. Did I really need this? No, it was because it was a deal, so I could just donate this to someone who actually will love and use it. This is their newest one, Empowered. Really like this one so far this year as well. It's a little similar. See, she kind of does similar color schemes a lot. These two are similar, but this one's more golden, but I'm gonna keep it. Her little palettes here, I have the brown, chocolate brown. This one looks exactly like Naughty Nudes to me, so I'm going to declutter this one. The mini palettes are not as good as her other ones typically. I actually do like this Wild Jaguar. It's more unique to me, so I do want to hold on to it because, I mean, she doesn't really have anything like this. Like, if she did a full palette of this, I think that would be so pretty, but I'm going to keep it. This one was actually so good from this year, the Love Fest. I am definitely keeping it. Such good quality. This is Toffee Brown, and I feel like this one's a little bit more unique for her, so I'm gonna keep that. And then Khaki Haze I've held on to because I do like the color story, but I didn't love the quality of this one, so I think I'm gonna declare that finally. So from Tarte, I just have two palettes right now, and this first one is their Juicy palette, which they don't sell this anymore, which makes me really sad. And I mean, I really liked this one, but I'm not reaching for it anymore. I don't think it's bad at all, but I'm just sad that like I can't recommend it anymore. She only has the small ones, and to be honest, the smaller ones are not as good as this big one. This big one was the best from them, and I don't know why they just discontinued it. I don't know, maybe people just aren't loving these huge palettes anymore. It's just really easy to work with, but I don't know, I never reach for these because I'm always reaching for stuff that is still available that I can recommend. So I'm gonna declutter this. And then we have the Maneater. This was such a fun one this year. Everyone went crazy for it because we finally had a really fun, exciting Tarte palette that was really good quality. So I am for sure keeping this one. It's a really nice fall palette. Next up is NARS. NARS actually has some really bomb quality in their eyeshadows, but I don't buy as much because a lot of them are very repetitive. But I love this one, the Climax. This is such a good palette. I think it's discontinued though, but oh my gosh, I love these tones for fall. Of course, they like discontinued it too, which is so annoying. I also have this one. I feel like all their palettes get discontinued. This is summer unrated, so yeah, since it says summer, I can guarantee this is probably going to be discontinued as well. But both of these are really nice palettes. I was thinking about decluttering this one, but I just don't know if I could do it, so I think I'm going to keep them both. Next, we have my Charlotte Tilbury palettes. First up is this Pillow Talk Dreams palette. This is actually a really pretty one for the quads, but I feel like I really liked it at first, but then when I used it a second time, it was like patchy and hard to blend. I just don't ever think that her quads are really worth the money for 4 shadows, so I think I'm going to declutter that. Now this palette I really like, and this is the Smoky Eyes Are Forever. I really like this color story. I thought it was more unique for her. She kind of does the same tones over and over, but this one actually had some, again, smoky greens, which I can't resist. So I actually use this one quite a bit, and I think it's her best one. And then this isn't necessarily an eye palette, but it's an all-in-one kind of face palette, and I use this a lot too. The Instant Look of Love in a palette. I know it seems boring, but I travel with this a lot. It has some of her best sellers. 3 eyeshadows, bronzer. This is their Hollywood bronzer. Bronze and Glow, I don't know, I think that's what it was called. We have the under eye setting powder, one of their highlights, and then a blush. So it has literally everything you need, so I'm keeping that. It's literally the perfect travel palette. Next I have these e.l.f. quads, which I have held on to just to have a drugstore option, but honestly these are not my go-to. If I'm looking for more affordable eyeshadow, I talk about ColourPop a lot, and I just prefer them for an affordable brand, and I have so much of their stuff. These just don't really compete as much. I know they're cheaper though, like $3, but it's like I like them, but I don't love them, and even though it is cheap, I still want it to be decent, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter. And then these Catrice 5 in a box, these were like little Natasha dupes. I don't know what happened, why these are unavailable. They're actually pretty good, but since they're so hard to get your hands on, I'm just gonna declare these. I'm hoping they have more coming on the way for new shadows, but for now we can let these go because I never really reach for them. Okay, the rest of these palettes are ones from brands that I only have one of, so let's see what I can get rid of here. First up, Dior. I was pretty let down by this palette. I didn't think it was anything special. This is their khaki neutrals. I think it's probably a good palette for them, but I just don't like their formula. I didn't think they were super punchy. It's very natural, but I expected a bit more from them, so I can let this go. This is a palette, I feel bad, but I never got around to trying it. I purchased it, now it's discontinued, so I can donate this one from Profusion. It seems pretty though. I need to try more of their makeup in the new year, but I think I'm gonna lean more towards permanent items rather than the limited edition stuff, but I'm gonna declutter. This Fluorescence palette is really beautiful, but it's super duper natural, which is typical for, I guess, Western makeup. I'm gonna go ahead and let this go though, because I just want some more punch out of these shades, but it is so stunning and it does feel very luxurious. This palette I made with Lethal. It's just a custom one. I need to reach into this more, but you can find these shadows on their website. I think I have a video on this, but you can customize your own palette. I love this color scheme that I made, and I think their shadows are insanely beautiful, so I'm gonna keep. This is my first Blend Bunny palette, which I've heard so many good things about, and I finally tried. This is the All Done Up. I feel like I need to get their Dollhouse one. This has really pretty muted mattes. I don't necessarily love the shimmers they picked for it, so I've been kind of struggling with this one a bit, but I do want to use it a bit more. You can kind of pair the shimmer with the mattes, but the quality is seriously unmatched on this palette. It's so good, and I definitely want to try more from them. This LA Girl Nudie Cutie palette was pretty good too. I think it's limited edition, but they do a color scheme like this pretty often. This one's already coming apart though, the packaging, and it's a little bit bulky, but LA Girl does have some really good stuff, but I think I'm just going to declutter this one for now, but it is one of the better ones I have tried from them. This Il Maquillage, this is a collab with Kathleen Lights. I was pretty disappointed in this. Given the price tag and for what I got with it, I just didn't think it was anything out of this world. It does have these pretty glittery tones, but I expected just more glitter from them. Like, I honestly, it's similar to the Makeup by Mario, and I prefer his glitters more than this. This was just so expensive for what it is, so I'm gonna declutter. And then speaking of Makeup by Mario, this palette I actually have been using a lot, and I do like it, and I feel like every time I wear it, I'm always getting compliments because he has these gorgeous glitters in here, but I do wish you could build up more depth with it. It does seem a little bit on the lighter side, but I can't lie that I wear this a lot, and it's a nice go-to neutral palette, so I'm gonna keep it. This Beauty Pie one, this was actually pretty decent, but it's not something I really reach for on the daily. I will let that go. I've held on to this Tom Ford Nude Dip forever, but I just can't justify his eyeshadow prices. They are just insane, and I don't think the quality matches, but this is definitely the better one of the ones I've tried, but I think I'm gonna let this go because it's just nothing special to me. Now this one I didn't even get a chance to use, this Morphe 2 palette. I might donate this. I just don't know if I'll get around to trying it. This is a Chanel quad, my first Chanel quad ever, and I was less than impressed with the formula. I don't think these luxury brands are for me. The luxury brands I like are Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona. I think their like eyeshadow quality justifies the price, but this does not. I mostly bought it because it had like the little perfume embossed in there, but I was not impressed. So Declutter this Chanel palette. It's called Ombre Saloon from their holiday collection. This is a fun little make your own palette from, it's called Mob Beauty. They started selling on Beautylish, and this is such a nice travel palette. So you can kind of choose what eyeshadows you want, like highlighter, there's even a cream blush, a bronzer, so literally everything in one. The quality is great. You can see mine is well loved, so we're gonna keep that. I have a bunch of Kaja stacks, and most of them I haven't even touched yet, but this one I have, and I think I'm gonna keep it. This is a nice just all matte trio from them, which is nice to have. This is in Neutral Moment. I'm gonna keep. This brand, What's Up Beauty, is pretty affordable, and they make some gorgeous shadows. They actually remind me of Adept a little bit. This is the Geodes palette, and it's so stunning. Like, I was so surprised by this brand. So I definitely want to hold on to this one. And these are just kind of make your own palettes here that I have singles in. I feel so bad that I never reach in for these, but I have like all my fun chrome shades, like multi-chromes in this one, and then these are like my single shadows, which is mostly Sydney Grace and a couple of randoms. I used to purchase a bunch of Sydney Grace mystery boxes, so that's kind of where a lot of these came from, but it's actually kind of a cool palette. Like, I would totally make this myself. I love this color story. So I think that's everything. Okay, so that is it for the declutter. Hope you guys enjoyed. I just wanted to kind of give you some numbers here for what we decluttered. I did go through a little box I had of some new palettes I haven't used yet. I did that off camera, so that just added in like literally just a few more. But I wrote down that I kept 81 palettes and I decluttered 65 palettes. So not quite half, but I think that's still pretty decent. I've been a lot pickier about what palettes I'm bringing into my collection, and I haven't bought as many as I used to. And there's just some certain brands I do like to keep on hand. So that is what we did. I think I'm pretty pleased with it. There's a lot more room in my drawer now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you had any ideas for some palettes that you want to get, definitely check out my description box, because some of these brands I have links and codes for. If you notice, I didn't do my ColourPop in here because that is a separate video, so I will be decluttering my ColourPop collection as well, because that is insane. So anyways, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.